I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cindy.
And we're here with another 40-day feeding frenzy. This one is for the Abundance book. And we are on day 13
The 40-day
of the 40-day prosperity plan.
What day did you say?
13.
Okay. I'm with you now.
Right?
Yes. I thought you said 14.
No, I said 13. I am conscious of the inner presence as my lavish abundance. I am conscious of the constant activity of this mind of infinite prosperity. Therefore, my consciousness is filled with the light of truth. It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Read it.
I am conscious of the inner presence as my lavish abundance. I am conscious of the constant activity of this mind of infinite prosperity. Therefore, my consciousness is filled with the light of truth. What does that bring up for you this time?
I think what stood out to me the most this time was my consciousness is filled. You know, I thought there's no limit to our consciousness. And when it's filled with the light of the truth. I don't know, I just think of a dark room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, massive dark room, and then it just being filled with light. Wow. So if my consciousness is filled with the light of truth, that's just pretty cool to me, because that means we know everything. There's nothing hidden. You know, when you strike a match in a room and it's suddenly filled with light, then there's nothing fall over everything, you know. Mm-hmm. Then I can see everything, and I know everything, and I trust it. So for me, the light of the truth is to say that the truth, when I learn truth, you know, I'm reminded of what Jesus said, the truth will set you free, and the light of the truth just reveals everything to us, so we don't have to wonder, you know, or feel left out of the loop. So that's what stuck out for me today, was the consciousness being filled with the light of the truth. That sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm. But it has the opposite. That sentence has the opposite connotation than the normal. When I think of your consciousness being filled, I think of congestion. Do you know what I'm saying? Because when my mind is full, I think of chaos, and I can't get, you know, I can't focus really well when it's filled. But those few words, light of truth, doesn't make me think that. You know, it makes me think of the opposite. It makes me think of focused and everything illuminated and no confusion and no chaos.
Well, what part of that's capitalized? Isn't truth capitalized there?
Light and truth.
So the God of God, or the energy.
Let's do that again. Do you want to? You want to replace it with God? All right. Excuse me, I'm cold. I am conscious of the God as my lavish God. I am conscious of the constant activity of this God, of infinite God. Therefore, my consciousness is filled with God. Oh, now, what does that do for you?
That's good. That just reminds me that God is all there is and all there needs to be. You know, He's the beginning and the end. He's everything in between. Because He's, read that first part again. I am conscious
of the God as my lavish God.
Yeah, so it says, to me that's saying I'm conscious that God is a lavish God. And He's my lavish God. So all things are mine.
And once we turn our mind to that, once we focus on that, once that becomes the light of truth, then we are filled with God. Now, I'm not saying that you automatically gain that. I'm saying it's there, but once we shed light on it, once we're focused on that, once we allow that thought, then we become filled with God. Because nothing is hidden from us.
That's good. You know what else it does for me, too? I think a lot of us are taught that God is our Father. And that so this, for me, for a long time, it was like, I have trouble seeing that, because when we equate God with our Father, sometimes our fathers are not like God, and for me, it was always, we don't have enough money for this, or, there was always lack. And in my house, we were never lavish. So to think of God, my Father, being a lavish God is hard for me.
Well, I guess it was hard because you're taught to look at your earthly father,
right,
as the same thing as God. And if your earthly father falls short of the mark in your eyes, then obviously,
right,
God is going to fall short of the mark. That's a good point.
Right, and so when we use the word God instead of the word energy or any other word, higher power or whatever, it puts a person to it for me. Mm-hmm. And I was raised where God the Father, and so that father thing, even though my dad was okay, he wasn't God, and it makes it too human for me, to where all humans have limitations. But God doesn't, and so that's always, I think, hung me up a little bit.
It's been a conflict for me too.
My household was not lavish, and we did okay, but we weren't lavish, and so if I use the word energy there instead, I think that helps me to think of it more in the lavish context,
and more than the human inequities or
because God is
failings.
And the more I've learned, the more I don't think of God as human. With flesh and that kind of human, he is energy. He is everything. Every particle of everything he's in. And that's hard for me to see if I'm thinking of him as a man. So energy, the word energy, I think does it better for me. So let's read it with that one.
Okay.
Let's see what that does.
I am conscious of the energy as my lavish energy. I am conscious of the constant activity of this energy. Therefore, my consciousness is filled with energy.
Now, you know what this brought to mind, Brady? I mean, you can't control that energy. I mean, when you've got so much energy, it's got to go somewhere. And when you're talking about the constant activity of this energy and the lavishness of the energy, and it's always working, then that's what it brought to mind.
Well, when I can open up my mind and think of God as energy, then it becomes easier for me to see God working in everyone's life, not just mine. When I saw God as just a man with the limitations of a man, then it became very difficult for me to understand, well, how can you listen to my prayers if you're listening to someone else's?
Right.
And why don't I automatically fall in line somewhere, waiting on an answered prayer?
Is it my turn yet?
Yeah, exactly. Constantly waiting. Is it my turn yet? Have I done enough yet? Have I moved up in line yet? Or have I gone back to the end of the line again?
Good point.
When I quit thinking of my creator, the universe, spirit, God, whatever you want to call that energy, when I quit thinking of it in the box of a man, then I opened up to the possibility that yes, there is more that I don't understand, and yes, it is possible to work in more places than just one.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. So, and for me, it's like, okay, if it's energy, and the energy we study in science class, for instance, it's always moving. It's always, energy has to go somewhere. You can't have energy and be still. So it's always working, and it never quits, and there's more than enough to go around. And that's just a better way to look at it for me. So read it again one more time.
So I began to see God as lavish once I could take him out of the box of a man.
Yes, definitely.
I could not equate God as lavish until I could think of God or spirit as more than just man.
Well, it was easy. I could picture a king or Liberace or somebody who's lavish, but I couldn't picture that and them be everywhere, omnipresent, or constantly working. All men get tired, even kings. And no man can be in more than one place at one time. So I could see the lavishness, but not as a total picture.
Couldn't make the whole picture. You could put in pieces of the puzzle, but couldn't make the whole picture.
Right.
Yeah,
so when we started using the word energy in place of God, it really helped
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Helped me. And we tried a lot of different words.
Yeah.
We even
Yeah.
tried putting our own names in there just to see that part
Let's
of
do
us
that
that's
later.
God. Yeah.
Let's do that later and see what it brings up.
But for me, energy is the one that
Mm.
works the best.
So this one was good. It is good.
Read it one more time, sir.
I am conscious of the inner presence as my lavish abundance. And I say it like that because as is italicized. I am conscious of the constant activity of this mind of infinite prosperity. Therefore, my consciousness is filled with the light of truth. So can you see it now as? Has the concept as sunk in yet? Can you see the consciousness of your inner presence as your lavish abundance?
So the inner presence is God in me. The God part of me is my, what was it? Abundance?
Your lavish abundance.
Lavish abundance. So yeah, I can see that the God part of me is my lavish abundance. Yeah, I really can.
It makes it easier for me to wrap my head around having my own supply. Rather than waiting in line.
Right. Well, it takes the
for
competition
others.
out of it. It
It
takes
absolutely
envy
does.
out of it. It takes, being jealous. It takes all of that out of it because I have my own supply. You get your own.
If I have my own supply, then I don't have to worry about taking from the pie either.
Right.
Worrying that if I take my share, somebody else is going to suffer. If I have my own supply, then that just doesn't come into play anymore. That means that everyone comes with their own.
Right.
So, it's said many times scripturally even that, God wants you to have, wants to give you the keys to the kingdom.
Wow.
Well,
So what we should be trying to do instead of competing or seeing it as a competition is, okay, you've got yours and I've got mine. Well, I'm going to do everything I can to find all mine. And I'm going to do everything I can to help you find all yours because they're not going to
they're not ever going to
It's not gonna
compete. Ever. Ever.
So our goal should be to help everybody find all their good stuff.
Oh, that is good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Shreen.